What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So we're back with the reviews, and I hope you guys had a good holiday season. I know I did, just because didn't have to really talk about Chelsea that much. But now we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize if I cleared my throat a little bit. Coming off the end of dealing with a lot of sinus issues, just because the weather's been so absolutely nuts. And my sinuses have not been able to keep up, so got a lot of drainage. Also, I got a new chair. It's nice and comfy, so feels much better than that big, the black one that I had before. So, but anyways, let's talk about this match. Quick rundown of my thoughts of the Bournemouth and Forest games. It was about the same. Bournemouth, we played okay. Bournemouth don't really look that good, and we were the better team because of that. Forest, we looked okay in the first half. Second half, they came out stronger. They got the equalizer, and we never really looked like getting a second from there. So then we get to today, and similar to Forest, except we didn't get the first goal. Started the first half okay. Even after the subs, we still looked decent. City obviously controlling a lot of the game, but we expect them to. But we looked okay, winning the ball back, trying to get down the field quickly. And then second half came out slow, and it started off about first 10 minutes of the second half, typically, like it always does. We look like we're about to concede. We look like we're about to give up goals. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why this has happened for the past 3 or 4 managers that we've had in. It doesn't matter who we have in this club. Our team always comes out slower in the second half. It doesn't matter how much we dominated the first half. We could have gone and scored 7 in the first half. The beginning of the second half, the other team's going to be the better team by a mile. I don't know why. I don't know what the players are doing at halftime. I don't know what the manager is saying at halftime. But we always come out just jogging around. Just, okay, well, here we go. And the other team's like, all right, let's go. We got to go. We got to get control of this game. City are looking to win. They need to win. We do too, but they need it for their title run to keep up with Arsenal. So they're going to come out strong and fast, and they did, and we did not. Again, I don't get it. I don't understand how every match we look slower and lazier after a break. I don't understand. Normally you would think, all right, you go into halftime, get some fluids in you, you get a break, to rest, re-energize. You would think that you'd come out a bit faster and quicker in the second half because, all right, we got a chance to catch our breath, let's go again. But it's almost like taking a break just sort of like gets everybody into this headspace of, guys, let me tell you, that first half, that was tough. We gotta go play a second half. Okay, let's go. It always looks like that to me. Why is that not changing? So that's frustrating. On top of that, anybody, look at the medical staff, please. Can we finally get somebody to look at this? Because it's ridiculous. You have Fofana, longer injury now because of what happened in preseason. Broja out with his ACL injury. You've got now James, who they said, he's good. Well, he's not good again, and he's out for another few weeks. You got Sterling coming up in the second minute so frustrated, can't talk. The second minute of the match, coming up with a hamstring injury. And Pulisic is just unlucky. It's just kind of that awkward, he hits the shot as soon as the defender comes in, and they both hit at the same time, and his ankle turned funny. So his is the only one out of all the recent injuries that I've thought, that's unlucky. That's just part of the game. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you hit a shot weird. Sometimes your foot catches on the grass. That happens. Everybody else, it's from whatever the medical staff is doing. They're not doing enough to make sure our players are 100% fit and ready to play. Because anytime you pull something, anytime you deal with a re-injury, anytime you deal with something that's reoccurring, you're not getting these players to be strong enough to withstand the challenges, the physical challenges of playing in the Premier League. You're not doing enough. So can somebody please go to the medical staff, find out what the problem is. If it's the people there, get them out and get people in that know how to do the freaking jobs. Because I can't honestly give my full thoughts about the performance today, because I do have to say, well, we're really hindered right now. no Chilwell, no James, no Mendy, no Fofana, no Conte, no Loftus-Cheek, no Broya, like I was just talking about, no Broya, and now no Pulisic, no Sterling. It's 9. I think they said 10 during the match, so I've missed somebody. I'm sure it'll come back to me later. But how many players are we going to lose before somebody finally takes a look at the medical staff and says, hey, you're not doing enough? Mount, it just came to me. Mount was out today because of an injury he picked up. So either whoever's doing the training is working them too hard and making them wear down their legs to where they're not physically fit to play in these matches, or the fitness/medical staff are not doing their jobs to make sure these players are strong enough so that they can withstand these physical challenges. But whatever the case, somebody freaking do something about it. Because it feels like now it's just becoming an excuse. Oh, we got all these injuries. Yeah, okay, we've had these injuries. What have we done to fix it? What have we done to fix the fact that we've got injuries? What have we done to fix the fact that we're losing all these players? Who have we brought in to help deal with these injuries? I'm not hearing any of that. So, I don't know if Bowley needs to look at it. I don't know who needs to look at it. But somebody needs to come in and say, this is the problem. Let's fix it. Because it's ridiculous. And I'm sick of it. Because when I tune in, I want to watch these players play. I want to watch James go out there. I mean, one of the reasons why we handled Bournemouth, even though they're not great, James, another good display from him. As soon as he went out, you could see the change. You could see the lack of ability up front. Because you don't have James making those runs down the wing to help open up some space. Because we have so many stagnant players. I'll talk about a couple of them later on. But that's my big rant about all the injuries because I'm just so frustrated by it. Potter, again, it's hard for me to criticize him too much because you see what he's dealing with. You see all the injuries. However, you still do have to look at the way we're playing and the tactics that he's setting us up with and think, I mean, we are just kind of setting ourselves up for failure. Every game we go out and we knock it around the back nice and slow and we don't look to break out and we don't look to get the ball down the field quicker. Every time we do that, we're setting ourselves up for failure. And we did it again today. Against the City side that is known for pressing high. And how many times did we knock it around, it goes to Cucurella and he loses the ball? How many times did that happen? 5, 6, 7? I lost count. Not because I can't count high, but because I was sitting there, all right, well, Cucurella just lost it once. Oh, he lost it again. And then a few minutes later, my God, is he going to lose it every single time the ball comes to him? I don't I don't get it. I don't understand how we can continue to lose the ball every time we knock it around in the back and not change that. It seems simple, right? Well, this style that we're playing with isn't working. Let's not do that. Whoa, that's crazy. We not do the thing that's hurting us? It's too much. It's too much. My brain can't handle it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, for him, personnel-wise, I can't criticize him because of all the injuries. But tactics-wise, I can still say he's not setting us up for success. He's still setting us up the same way Tuchel was that set us up for failure so many times. That slow, methodical passing around the back, knocking it around, and then once we get past that first line, coming back, doing it again. Then we get past that line again, coming back. I mean, if not for the fact that Chukwuemeka, Zakaria, and Ziyech all are just, they have that mindset of, I want to go forward with it. If we didn't have them on the field today, it would have been very similar to the home match against City last season with Tuchel, where we just basically sat in. We won the ball back and we kept possession back there until we were under so much pressure that we knocked it long and they came at us again. It would have been like that, but thankfully we did have some progressive-minded players today, so that helped a little bit. But yeah, so for Potter, though, he's still not doing enough, in my opinion, to show why he was the solution to the problems Tuchel had. It's still very much the same exact problems I had with Tuchel. So we just traded one manager for another in the exact same style. Individuals, Kepa, honestly, for the most part, looked about the same today. Looked pretty good, made some good saves. But The goal, that in and of itself is enough for me to say I don't want to see him again. Because what was that? I honestly want to know. There was another cross that came in. It was a little bit later, about 10 minutes after. Came in from the other side, very similar. Holland got a foot on it, but did not enough, and it trickled out for a goal kick. But very similar cross. This one was top of the box, of the 6-yard box. I'm thinking, okay, that one I get. It's a little outside of his range. He doesn't want to go for it and be left stranded. This one, his hand is here. If he just does this, his hand's on the ball. It's like that. That's all it took. That's all he had to do. And now some people might say, well, he might have been worried about pushing it into the middle. Okay, well, you just let a goal in. If you had done this, at least there was a defender here that might have been able to get a foot on it and get it out. But by you not doing this, that ball's all the way through now, and now it's a goal. Now it's in your net. Because you didn't do this. Every angle they showed, it just got worse. Like, my first thought was, okay, maybe it just wasn't as close as it looked. And they show another angle, like, actually, that looks really close. And all of a sudden, they show it from behind, and you could see just how close the hand that he used to just turn and look at it, that hand was so close to the ball. It was just, again, that little motion, and you're on it. Your hand is on the ball. What the hell? Again, it's one of those mistakes that despite all the decent saves and good saves he made today, that one mistake, he had a bad game for me. He goes from a 6 or a 7 down to a 3 because of that one crucial mistake. Now, it wasn't all his fault, but it does sort of... While everybody else doesn't do their defensive work, you do your job there, it doesn't matter that nobody else does their work. It doesn't matter that the midfield didn't really work to try to win the ball back when we gave it away. It doesn't matter that Aspilicueta caught in no man's land and Ziyech is standing further down the field and Cucurella can't track to save his life. None of that matters if you just do your job and hand out. Be on your toes. Be ready to down to it. It's so easy. It's within a foot of you. He could have stuck a leg out and gotten something on it. So yeah, I mean, again, other problems led to the goal. That one problem could have saved it, though. If he didn't make that one mistake, he could have saved the goal. And that's what he's out there to do. He's out there to keep us from giving up a goal. And he didn't do it. So, yeah, it's one of those mistakes where I'm looking at Bettinelli and I'm thinking, all right, well, is he ready to go? Are our youngsters, Eddie Beach, Slanina, are they ready to go? Can they step in? Because we might need to look at other options, because holy crap. You see what just happened. Aspilicueta on the right side, still being asked to basically take Reece James's role of up and back, and he's still he doesn't have the physical capability of doing that anymore. But I don't know if Potter's asking him to do it, or if that's what he wants to do. He wants to get up and back, but he's not as capable of doing it anymore, and it showed. I still love him as a player. I still think he's a great defender. He's not the same fullback he used to be. He's not a fullback that can get up with the attack and get back and defend. So there were a couple times where he was very much caught out. And some of that, again, Ziyech wasn't really tracking back in the second half to help out defensively, so that was part of the problem. But it still feels like there were too many times where he's so far away from the player who picked up the ball on that left side, whether it was Foden or Grealish, that by the time he's out there, it's too late. Like, they've either had a chance to pick their head up and look around and see what they want to do, or they're already getting up to speed, and he's not quick enough to catch them when they're up to speed. So, Silva in the middle, thought did okay. He's probably been one of the few players that, in my opinion, I've not really seen much of an issue with this season. He's had, I think, one bad game. Maybe one, maybe two. He's just typically strong, smart, knows where to be. I don't think he works in a 4-back system, but he still does a pretty decent job and still makes a lot of blocks and defensive clearances. So, yeah. Still love having him back there. Koulibaly, I mean, not a bad performance from him, but I'm just frustrated with him, honestly, because he does a lot of stupid stuff. There's a lot of moments where Rudiger kind of did something similar. Rudiger would have those moments where he does something, you're like, you're an idiot. Like, why even bother? The last minute of the game, right? Man City are breaking out. We need to win the ball back because it's our last chance. We knocked it around for 2 minutes. We gave it up. Now they're starting to break out. We need to win it back fast. I don't remember. I think it was Gundogan took a awful touch. Koulibaly, all you have to do, get out of his way. What does he do? Throw his arm in his way. Give up the foul, and that's game. Idiot. It's the stuff like that you look at it and you go, that was stupid. Why would you do that? You basically just said game's over instead of playing smart. And again, Rudiger did the same thing, but Rudiger was a good defender. He made up for those mistakes by defensively just dominating back there. Koulibaly doesn't do that. He does okay, but he's not the dominant force that Rudiger does. So when they both make the mistakes, but one of them plays great and the other one plays okay, those mistakes for the okay player are a lot more noticeable and a lot more frustrating. So that's where I am with Koulibaly right now. I know we just signed that young defender. I don't remember if he's young or not now, but I think the guy from Monaco. Chalobah still on the bench, has been for the past 3 games. I can't explain it. Every time he plays, he looks good, he looks solid, and he rides the bench every match because either Potter's an idiot or there's something going on at training. He doesn't train well. He has an attitude problem. I don't know. But yeah, from what I've seen on the pitch, he should be playing more. So there's an issue behind closed doors that we don't know about that's keeping him on the bench. Or Potter's just an idiot. One of those two. Cucurella, another awful game from him. Lack of tracking, giving the ball away, defensively not good. He had one good moment, and it came from a kind of a mistake from Cancelo and Walker. Just for some reason, kept heading it back and forth between each other instead of just settling it when they had time. That one mistake is the one moment he actually looked competent. Made a good challenge, started a counterattack. But outside of that, not really much from him. Had defensively just looked shaky. Got turned so easily against Silva and got outpaced. Mahrez just ran past him for the goal. Again, how many times did he give the ball away? It's just, we need another left back. We do. Hall, you don't know if he's going to be good enough. I hope he's going to be good enough, but right now, he's good. He's not what we need, though. I think he's a better wingback, honestly. But yeah, he's one of those players that he's young, he's energetic, you want to see more of him, but he should not be starting. However, because of how bad Cucurella has been, you're kind of looking at Hall and going, well, I hope he can give us something, because he really needs to be starting over him at this point, which is sad for how much we paid for Cucurella, but hey, just one of those stupid things that Chelsea does, overpays for average players. In the midfield, Kovacic and Zakaria. Kovacic, not the best game from him, honestly. I've seen better. He did okay throughout, but I've seen matches where he's really run the midfield, getting on the ball, making things happen. Part of that may be because Man City puts so much high pressure, and they go with numbers too. And there's just not enough movement from the front for him. So whenever he gets on the ball, he doesn't have his typical time to sort of get out of that space, because even when he does turn one player, he's typically turning into another player. So I feel like part of the problem is he needs somebody else in there, maybe just a third midfielder to sort of open up the space a little bit more, give him another option to pass to, which I know it sounds weird, but having Jorginho sitting a little bit deeper in this match might have helped us on the ball a bit more. Not much, because he's still too slow. He probably would have given the ball away too, but maybe just having that third midfield option in there would have given Kovacic enough time to find some space and be a little bit more dangerous. But honestly, his best moments came later in the second half when you could tell the game was sort of winding down a little bit. Man City players getting a little bit more tired, having to chase the ball a little bit, and giving the ball away. Suddenly, if it goes to Kovacic, he's finding some good passes to open up space. So, but for his standard, I don't think it was the best game. I think he was okay, but not great. Zakaria, though, he's been coming along slowly. He's had a couple decent games before the World Cup break, and then coming back from the World Cup break. I think he's played all 3 matches, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember if he played in the Bournemouth match now, but honestly, I mean, I do remember him from the Nottingham Forest game, and then in this one, he's looking like he's kind of getting some confidence in there, like to stay on the ball, to win the ball, make some good plays, get out of that high press. I think he's starting to feel like he can show what he's capable of. And I thought he looked pretty good today. Like, not great. Still had some moments where maybe a little too naive under the high press. But he did look progressive. He wanted to get the ball forward. He went with pace. I liked what I saw. The only problem I guess I want to see more from him on is his defensive capability. He's not bad, but when you have Kovacic and Zakaria, and even after that, all you've got is Jorginho, we need somebody in there that's more defensive-minded. We don't really have that right now, so I would like to see if he could be a bit more defensive-minded, but if not, then we might need to either look in the transfer window or, I don't know, turn to our defenders, to somebody to step in there, maybe Chalobah, I don't know. But we need a more defensive-minded defensive midfielder because we don't have that right now. Onto the wings, obviously can't really talk about Sterling because he was out so quickly. Pulisic, looked okay. Honestly, Pulisic's looked good since coming back from the World Cup. So disappointing to see him go out, probably with an ankle injury. Hopefully it's not too bad because it did look more like a contact injury. And typically when you turn your ankle on those, it's not as bad, but who knows? It could have been, it could be one of those where he tore something and now he's out for several weeks. Sterling, though, looked like he pulled hamstring, which is going to be, I think it's like 3-5 weeks. But anyways, Ziyech, first half looked good. Second half started fading. I hope that's just down to the fact that, he hasn't been playing a whole lot, so playing the full 90 is a little rough for him. Then again, he did play pretty much full 90 all of the World Cup for Morocco, so, but I don't know, I feel like he really started to fade in the second half. Like I said, his tracking back really faded off. It's one of those, he's a good player. I want to see more of him. He looks dangerous when he gets on the ball, but also looking at it from a tactical point of view, in this match we were not getting down the field as much. I feel like he's more dangerous if he's picking up the ball in the final third. A lot of this match, especially later on in the first half, he was picking up the ball too deep. And he still can be dangerous in those areas, but it feels like he's not quite as effective because there's not as much to look for. And also, the two front men really don't give him much to look for. So I feel like it's a little bit of both. He needs to try to, I guess, keep it a little bit more simple at times, but also the balls that he can play, the danger that he has on the more complex ones, he doesn't really have the help. So it's kind of a bit of both on that. I guess we'll talk about Havertz next. I mean, he's just still the same. He's not really a striker. He needs a striker making runs in front of him to really let him be dangerous. Looks lazy still. Several moments where he's within 5 yards of the ball. He's the closest player, and he's not stepping. He's not putting any pressure. He's just sort of walking. Several moments, too, where just a lazy touch and, giveaway, which leads to a chance for City. Some lazy offside calls on him as well. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of Havertz right now. Like, he's shown his quality at times, but I feel like those times come one every 5 games, and we need players that are going to show their quality 4 out of 5 games, and honestly even more than that, but 4 out of 5 is better. Like, it's one of those, okay, so we're going to see your best, and then maybe one game you have a slip up every now and then. But for him, it's like every now and then he has that great game, and then the rest of them he's just standing around and walking and just not helping us out at all. So it's not enough. For what he can do, for the ability that he's shown in the past, I want to see him working harder, and I don't see it. So it's very frustrating for me. The two subs that came on in the first half, Chukwuemeka and Aubameyang. Aubameyang came on first and looked tired and old and terrible and just not worth the money that we paid for him. He was free, right? I'm pretty sure that joke works because he was free. He's not worth. We should have been paid to take him. Like somebody should have paid us and said, "Hey, take him off our hands." I still to this day like the worst downgrade in striker in our history is Werner to Aubameyang. Like that's got to be the worst I've ever seen. And there have been some bad ones. You know, we went from Drogba to Torres. Went from Costa to Murata. Like there's been some drop off in our strikers before. This is just Werner. You know, not necessarily the greatest striker, but he worked hard. He was a workhorse. He busted it for you every game. He gave it his all. To Aubameyang, who also can't score, but also doesn't work hard, doesn't give you his all, just sort of jogs around a bit. Just nothing. I'm sick of watching him. I hope Fofana is not Wesley Fofana, David Fofana. I hope he's worth it. I hope he's going to come in. You know, all the talk is, oh well, he had a better season with Molde than Holland did in his first season. Okay, whatever. Can he come in and can he work hard? Can he be a striker that's going to make runs? Give us movement in the final third, because my God, I just want to see some movement. I want players who are going to make runs. Havertz and Aubameyang do not. So when you got both of them up there, you've got two cones just standing and waiting. And it's frustrating as hell to watch. Chukwuemeka, though, exciting to see. You know, he's really... It's honestly one of those players, because we signed him this year, and it's kind of surprising to think he's, 18 or 19? Like, he's young. So, sometimes I forget about that. Like, when I watch him play, he looks like he's a Premier League player. You know, he doesn't look like a great Premier League player. He looks like a solid Premier League player, though. He's energetic, works hard, busted both sides of the ball. I want to see more of him. This is a match that showed me, hey, you know what? Give him a chance. He may be young. He may still be growing. Give him a chance. See what he can do. Because today, in my opinion, he was the most consistent player between both halves. You know, Zakaria, second most consistent player. And then after that, Ziyech was good in the first half and bad in the second. So I think, honestly, Chukwuemeka, for me, probably my man of the match just because of how much he worked and how hard he worked. He's got to get a little bit smarter on the ball, but that'll happen the more he plays. So I'd like to see more of him because what we've seen in the couple instances he's played, he's looked solid. He's looked like a good player who's still young and still has a lot of growing to do, but can give you a lot if you give him a chance. And then the final three subs, was a little surprised not to see Jorginho come on, but gave me a little hope that maybe Potter is seeing that Jorginho doesn't really help you out. But no, you got Hutchinson coming on for his debut, you got Hall, and then you got Gallagher. And all three of them just came on to provide a little bit more energy, you know, a little bit more legs. He had to make all three in one because of the first two half subs. So yeah, it's okay. You know, it was okay from all three of them. Gallagher came on, a lot of energy, worked hard, busted it. Maybe a little reckless sometimes, but you know what? He's at least chasing. He's at least doing something. Unlike Havertz, who's just standing and watching. Hall, for me, was probably the most impressive of the three, and that's just because he really does look like he's mature for his age. You know, he looks like he knows what he's doing. He's not scared to take people on defensively. Maybe a little small, and that might be his only issue for me. But he's got some pace on him, and he reads the play pretty well, puts himself in a good position to win the ball back. I like what I see from him. And again, he's not necessarily Premier League level yet, but between him and Cucurella, I trust him right now because he looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks like he's comfortable on the ball. He's not like panicking like Cucurella does. He's not taking awful touches every time. He looks comfortable. And it reminds me a little bit, you know, you think about Lamptey in his first couple appearances. Or did he just make the one against Arsenal? I thought he played two, but I don't remember now. But you think about some of these players that come on and they look smart. They look like they know what they're doing. I prefer to keep those players in the team because we have so many young players come through that are just all pace, all action. Oh, I'm going to chase everything. Gallagher, in a way, we don't really have many youngsters that come through that look like they got this. They have this confidence about them, like they want to play at the top level, and they're already confident enough to be there. So I feel like he's a good one to definitely give some chances to. Again, Kugare is just not cutting it at the moment, so this might be a good time before Chilwell comes back from injury. Give Hall some chances. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can do it consistently. Is this just he gets a chance every now and then and he looks okay in those chances, but he's not. It's because he's not really having to play so many matches in a row. I don't know. We'll have to see. But now's a good time to check him out. So, and then Hutchinson, unfortunately for him, he kind of falls into the same issue that we've seen from a lot of our talented youngsters up front. They typically get brought on. I don't know why this is, because most of the time you would expect to see them come on in a match where you're up 3-0 something, dominating, putting it away. So it sucks whenever a youngster comes on in a match where you're chasing the game, you need a goal, the other team's packed it in, they're defensively solid, and now you have to try to break down that defense. It does kind of suck, and I feel like that really hurt him today because I think he does have some quality. Some of the clips that I've seen of him, he has some trickery up his sleeves. But I feel like today we didn't really get to see any of that because Man City were comfortable just sort of sitting back, man marking. So anytime he was on the ball, somebody's right there. It's Ake or it's Grealish. One of the two is basically right on top of him as soon as he takes a touch. So he doesn't really have time and space to pick his head up and try to do something with it, which is what you want your youngsters to have the ability to do. So I just don't think this was a good game for him to get his debut in, but who knows? Maybe we'll see more of him. Maybe this was kind of just a nerves thing, like he is better than what we saw today, but he just wasn't really ready for it because he didn't think he'd be coming on. I don't know. But all in all, I mean, it's a frustrating match, but not an unexpected result. I mean, honestly, the fact that we kept it only to 1 before the match, I would have been shocked if you had told me you came back from the future and they only lost 1-0. I would have been like, really? We only gave up 1? Okay, we must have defended pretty well. But in reality, what it was is City was just not really at it today. So, but we got them again on the weekend, so chance for our youngsters to play their youngsters in the FA Cup. It's ridiculous to me that we faced them in the first round of the Carabao Cup that we played, and now the first round of the FA Cup we play is against them. That seems odd. That seems a little ridiculous, and maybe a little money changed hands or something. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see just how young the lineup's going to look. Obviously, because of all the players we're missing right now, it was going to look young whether or not it was the FA Cup anyway. So, but I do hope, though, we do see some of these young players that have the energy, that have the drive and the desire. I want to see more of them rather than these players like Havertz, like Aubameyang. The players that just sort of stand around and wait for the game to come to them. I don't want to see that anymore. I'm sick of seeing that. Let's see players with energy. Let's see players that bust it 100% of the time, every single match. Like, let's go. Let's go at teams again. Because it's frustrating for me to watch some of these matches, to watch Arsenal and Newcastle play. And they're looking like what I want us to look like. Like, to say that about Arsenal and Newcastle, who have been awful up until this year, that's frustrating for me. I don't want those two, who were terrible, terrible, terrible this year. They're great, and they're playing exactly how Chelsea should be playing. Meanwhile, we're wallowing over here, knocking the ball around in our defense for 30 minutes a match, and then the other 60, the other team are just sort of breaking a goal and easily passing through our defense. So, I don't know. It's just, I'm frustrated with it. There's not, obviously I talked a lot in this video, but I feel like there's not much outside of what I've discussed here. You've got your injuries, you've got players that aren't really pushing themselves. January is not normally a time where you look to try to improve your team a lot, but it feels like we kind of have to now. We're in that position where, because of injuries and because of players who just aren't up to scratch, we kind of have to go panic buy, and that always leads to overpaying for players and getting players that you think are going to help you, but then in reality they're not near what you thought they were, and now you're stuck with them. So, anyways, I'm tired. I'm just honestly, I'm kind of ready for this season to be done already, and we're only halfway through. So, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on Chelsea right now as a club? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future tired Chelsea reviews. And I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.